Today we are foraging and harvesting Varnish Conk, or Ganoderma sorghei. This is a type of polypore mushroom or a shelf fungus. Sorghei is scientific lingo for hemlock, its favorite food. The Varnish Conk is a very close relative of Ganoderma lucidum, or better known as Reshi. Now, many authorities believe that the Varnish Conk has the same properties as Reshi. Now today we're going to be harvesting some Varnish Conk to make a duly extracted tincture. Now, some of the health benefits are to lower cholesterol and blood pressure, and to help kidney and liver disease, and act as an antihistamine and antioxidant. This is achieved by extracting the triterpenes via alcohol tincture. Now, a hot water tincture will extract the polysaccharides, which is good for lowering blood glucose levels, and also have an anti-inflammatory and anti-tumor compounds. Studies also show antibacterial and antiviral benefits, as well as autoimmune illnesses. Alright, so let's go harvest some Varnish Conk. Okay, we're going to take a few of these varnish caps here and take them home and process them up here. So this looks like a nice one here, and when we get these home we'll wash them off here and dry them off good. And then we got to put them through a drying process here. So we'll just cut this off here at the base. So here's one here. And this varnish cap will run around to the bottom like this, to the underside there, that varnish color. And then you got the whitish underside. And we'll take this one over here. This is a nice specimen as well. And we'll take this double one here. Now this one here looks to be past its prime. It's starting to. I see a lot of bugs crawling on it. The underside's starting to turn a color here. And we also got some light mold here starting to form. So that one there we're not going to take, because that could contaminate your tincture and what you're trying to do with it. So we're going to leave that one there and flip it back over. And as these decay, the spores will go back down into the log. So we have one down there at the far end. I could see it almost looks like a light smoke coming off of it. And I think that was the spores coming off of it. I don't see it right now, or else I would film a little bit of it. So let's see what this one here looks like. This one here looks okay. And maybe we'll try one more here. All right. We got one little spot here. It looks like a snail might have ate into it a little bit, but that'll be all right. We'll cut that out. All right, I got one small one here. I think I'm going to take this one too. Here's a nice small one. All right, this is an old big hemlock tree that broke off, and actually over there is where it broke off at. I'll show you the stump sticking up there. And this was a pretty old tree. It's a shame when these hemlocks do die off. And sometimes they die off from being old, but a lot of times its disease, or we got the woolly aphids that are attacking our conifers here. So I'll just put these in a Ziploc bag here until we get back to the house, and then we'll process these up. Alright, so there's our bag of varnish cap. They're closely related to the Reshi, or the Lingji, I think it's called. Some of these names are hard to pronounce, but so we're going to hop up on here and walk down the log here, and we'll show you some more specimens on down here. Alright, as you can see here, we're washing it all off here in the sink. And we're just cleaning it up, just rubbing our hands over it. We're just washing it with cold water. We're not using any detergents or nothing like that. And then we'll place it on our drying rack outside to dry. But you want to make sure you bring this in. You don't want it to be raining on it or nothing like that. Okay, here's a look at it on the drying rack. And we'll just leave it there a few days to dry on its own. And I'll have this outside a little bit, and then I'll make sure I bring it in. You don't want it getting rained on and rehydrating it. So what we'll end up doing then is we'll slice this down into slices, and we'll put it on the dehydrator and dry it out. Then we'll move to the next step. Alright, we got our varnish caps, or Varnish Conks, dried out, or our Genoderma soge. And whether it's these or the Reshis or the Lingji, they're all part of the Genoderma family. But I just air dried these on this rack here. This is just an old rack from an old refrigerator here. But they dried out pretty well, and I had these on here for a week. So they're real light. They don't seem like they got any moisture in them. So that's what you want. So whenever you're doing foraging for plants for medicinal purposes, it's always a good idea to have some reliable references. So these are some of the books that I have. This book here was written by the woman that was on the Alone series. And this is a very good book to have. And I also have this one here. And this is good for the mushrooms and stuff that's around my area. And we also have the Audubon Society to North American Mushrooms, another good, fantastic book. So it's always good to have these resources to help give you the knowledge that you need, and for identifying and everything like that. Now this is what we got here today. As you see, the Reshi, the Lingzai, and the Varnish Conk, they're all listed together here because they're all Genodermas. Alright, we are going to be making a dual tincture here, but the first part of the tincture is going to be using alcohol, and the alcohol draws out the triterpenes that's in this fungus here. The first part of the tincture is going to be tinctured out in pure grain alcohol here. This is Everclear. This is 151 proof grain alcohol, and they claim if you use 80 proof and up for doing your tinctures, but so I think that the higher the proof, the better off you are, and the less you'll have an alcohol taste to it once your tincture is done. And the higher proof, it'll actually draw the host ingredient out of your specimens here. And the triterpenes extracted here are known to lower cholesterol and blood pressure and help kidney and liver disease. And it also acts as an antihistamine and an antioxidant. But the polysaccharides, you can only get that if you extract it through a hot water tincture. So once we extract this host ingredient with the alcohol, we'll strain this off, and then we'll use the solids and tincture that again with water. We'll actually be putting that in a crock pot and reducing the amount of water down, and then using that, straining that off and mixing that with our alcohol tincture. And I'll show you later on when we go to do that the proportions that we use for doing that. And the water tincture draws out the polysaccharides, and they actually lower blood glucose levels, and they also have an anti-inflammatory and anti-tumor compounds. So there's a lot of health benefits. Alright, there is a warning though with taking this tincture here. People taking a hypoglycemic medication should use Reshi with caution, as it will lower blood sugar levels. And also people taking anticoagulant should use with caution as well, due to this has blood thinning effects. Now if these were bigger specimens here, what we would do with these is we would have sliced these up in slices and then put them on a food dehydrator and dried them out that way. But these seem pretty dried out, so I think these are going to work. So now what we're going to do now for our tincture is we're going to grate these on a cheese grater here. And once we get that grated into a finer powder, that'll tincture out better. This part back in here where it connects to the host, the tree itself, we're not going to be grating that part up, just from here up. Alright, and to make our tincture, we got a clean quart mason jar here, and I got the top here already marked with the date. And what we're going to do is we're going to make a dual extract tincture. Alright, we're going to start the grating process here of our, like I said, we're not going to be using the stems on these. We'll just get close down here. And we're going to use a cheese grater here and try to get these in a finer powder rather than chunk them up. And that way the alcohol will be able to draw the host ingredient out of them better. So as you can see, we're getting a nice fine powder here. This might take some time, and I might also go to a bigger size here and get a mixture of finer powder and some chunks, just to speed the process up a little bit. Alright, so we got about 5 of these grated up here, and as you can see, grated up pretty nice. So we're going to see how much this fills this jar up here. We want to fill it about halfway, and we got 3 more left here if we need them. I also grated some on a little bit bigger holes here, so that worked out well too. So we got a nice mixture in there, and that's what you want. Grated into a powder, or kind of like a sawdust here. That'll extract out a lot better than big solid chunks. Now, as you can see, we only graded it down to where we cut them off at on the tree. It's getting too close for grading with your hand, so we didn't grate this part. Okay, so we'll get this put in our jar, and then that'll determine whether we need to grate any more. I'm sure there's probably better ways to grate these up rather than doing it by hand. But I always like doing stuff the hard way. A little bit of elbow grease. Alright, we're getting pretty close there. I think I might grate one more up, since I'm grating this up real fine like this. I think it wouldn't hurt to fill this up a little bit past half, so we're going to grate some more up here. Okay, so while I'm grating these up here, I did have a little fine dust coming up from these, so I just turned the fan on there just to blow it away so I don't inhale it. Probably won't hurt you, but you always want to use precautions though. So this process here, using the fine part here, it's not working too bad, so I think I'm going to keep going with this type of grater here. Alright, so we got the rest of our Varnish Conk ground up here. We just had one left here. But I think this is going to be more than enough right here. Alright, so the next thing we do with our tincture here is you want to tincture it out in some pure grain alcohol. And the higher the proof, the better in my book. You'll have less alcohol taste in your tincture, and that higher proof will draw the essence out of your host ingredient better. Oh yeah, that's strong. Alright, we're just going to pour this in and Cover everything up here. We'll let that soak down, then we'll top it off some more. That's going to soak up pretty good, being that we had everything ground up so fine. You can hear that bubbling. Alright, we're just going to put the lid on it here and shake it up here a little bit and then top it back off again. Alright, we're just topping this off here a little bit. I did take a little of the solid out just so I can get more coverage here with the alcohol. Alright, so last thing you do here, since you had the lid on and off, you want to wipe this rim down real good, because you want a nice seal there. And also with this part of the lid here, we'll wipe this off and the seal as well. Alright, and then we'll put our lid on it and give her a good shake. Okay, that concludes part 1 of this video. And we're going to let this go 6 to 8 weeks and shake it every day. And there'll be a part 2 of this video. And that'll be the straining of this. And then we'll do the water tincture, and then we'll combine the two to make our duly extracted tincture. So thanks for watching, and we'll catch you on the next one. Thanks. Catch you later.